Good morning. Thank you for participating today's service. Today is Gotan-e Service. We celebrate Shinran Shonin's birthday. And our speaker is Reverend Toshiyuki Umitani of Honpa Hongwanji.
Nembutsu, Nembutsu, Nembutsu. Shall we place our hands together in Gassho? When I consider deeply the vow of Amida, which arose from 5 kalpas of profound thought, I realize that it was entirely for the sake of myself alone. Then how I am filled with gratitude for the primal vow in which Amida resolved to save me, though I am burdened with such heavy karma. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Butsu. Good morning. This is Reverend Umitani from the Moiriri Hongwanji Mission. Thank you very much for your kind invitation to join you in the Gotan-e Service at the Honpa Hongwanji Hawaii Betsuin. I direct to express my appreciation to Reverend Hagio and the associate ministers of the Betsuin. I hope everyone is staying safe and well. I wish I could see you in person at the Betsuin Hondo. I haven't been there for such a long time. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 concerns, I excuse myself and I am sharing my message through this video this morning. Hopefully, we can all get together at the Betsuin Hondo in a near future. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to rejoice in the Nembutsu with you this morning. We are observing the Gotan-e Service this morning. Shinran Shonin was born on May 21st, 1173, in a village named Hinono Sato in the suburbs of Kyoto. In the year 2023, 2 years from now, we will be observing the 850th anniversary of the birth of Shinran Shonin. The Honzan, our mother temple in Kyoto, is planning to hold a large gatherings and services in 2023. I hope we can all go to Japan and attend the service in Kyoto together. It is through Shinran Shonin that we could encounter the teachings of the Nembutsu. Today we celebrate the birth of Shinran Shonin as we express our appreciation to Shinran Shonin for sharing with us the universal wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha that enfolds all of us. Gotan-e is one of the most important observances in the Hongwanji tradition. The passage that I read at the beginning is written in the Tannisho, which was written by Yuyen, one of the disciples of Shinran Shonin. According to Yuyen, Shinran Shonin often said, "When I carefully think about the vow of Amida Buddha, why it was established, how it was established, then I realized that it was for me. It was established just for me, who is suffering in the ocean of karmic evil." Shinran Shonin carefully examined himself and often expressed his shame and self-reproach toward his true nature, his evil karma. Yet, at the same time, he expressed his profound joy and gratitude toward Amida Buddha's voice of compassion that embraces him just as is. This morning, I'd like to first talk about the karmic evil from the Jodo Shinshu perspective. First of all, in Buddhism, we think that evilness does not exist outside of us, but lives inside of us. Hell does not exist as a place. It is created by each individual's thought, speech, and action. We may say, I'm not evil, I'm always a good person, but look at him. However, when we carefully look within our hearts, we realize that the reality of life is that we all live by thinking, speaking, and doing both good and bad things. Probably we cannot live by doing only good things. Also, we cannot live by doing only bad things. When there is a condition that brings us to do good, we may think, speak, or act wonderful things. Such actions will bring peace and happiness to the people around us. On the other hand, when there is a condition that brings us to do bad things, we might commit an evil, either consciously or unconsciously. Such actions will harm and exploit others. It will bring sadness and disharmony. The truth is that we are human beings who are liable to do anything, whether it is good or bad, depending upon the condition we are in. We may wish not to harm anyone, but when there is a karmic cause inducing us to do bad, we end up hurting people around us. Shinran Shonin taught us that the amount of evil karma that we carry with us is so large, so heavy. Shinran Shonin must have lamented and shed tears over the fact that he could not negate, ignore, or discard this heavy karma that he carried. In this darkness, it was the Nembutsu teaching of Honen Shonin that shed light of assurance. Honen Shonin taught Shinran Shonin that such a person who cries over his own blind passions and evil karma is the primal target of Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha always extends his compassionate hands, saying, "Don't worry, I will save you without fail." Today, I'd like to share a story of Saichi Asahara, who was one of the devoted Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, who we call Myokoni, a person who has a rare fragrance of the Nembutsu. Saichi Asahara was born in Shimane Prefecture in 1850. When Saichi was 11 years old, his parents got divorced, and Saichi was taken care of by his mother's side. Later, Saichi's mother remarried, so Saichi moved out from his mother's place and went to his father's mother's place and started working as a ship carpenter, shipwright. Saichi was 14 or 15 years old. Saichi encountered the Nembutsu teaching through his father and ministers of his district temples. In his 50s, Saichi retired from ship carpentry and started making Gatha, a Japanese wooden footgear. As Saichi continued making Gatha, he enthusiastically listened to the Nembutsu teachings. From around the age of 64, Saichi started creating religious poems and writings. Whenever Saichi had a spiritual joy, or awakening, he wrote it down on a piece of paper or any extra wood pieces that were scattered in his workplace. Later, he made a fair copy of his writings in notebooks. It is said that there were over 3,500 poems altogether. Saichi did not receive enough education, so he was not so good at reading and writing, but he had a great taste of making poems. There are many beautiful poems. Through poems, Saichi beautifully expressed his spirituality, his spiritual joy of the Nembutsu. There is a famous story of Saichi. Saichi's spirituality was well known and well respected by the people in his village. One day, an artist told Saichi that he would draw Saichi's portrait. When he was done, this artist showed his work to Saichi. It was such a beautiful portrait of Saichi sitting and placing his hands in gassho with his onenju. It was a portrait of a person who was rejoicing in the Nembutsu. But as soon as Saichi saw this portrait, he said, "This does not look like me at all." But it was such a beautiful portrait of Saichi. So this artist asked, "What do you mean by that? This is you." Then Saichi said, "I look too good. You may see me like this. I'm not a good person like this. I have a devil, evilness, living in my heart. How many times have I hated people? How many times have I held a grudge against other people? People may not be able to see it, but the fire of greed, anger, and ignorance are always burning within. That is my true nature, and I don't see it in this portrait. So please draw 2 devil's horns on my head." This artist reluctantly added 2 horns in the portrait. Once again, Saichi looked at the portrait with 2 horns on his head, and he rejoiced. "Now it looks like me." So in Jodo Shinshu, the relationship between Amida Buddha and myself is like a relationship between a mother and her child. When a mother sees her child suffering from sickness, she takes care of her sick child unconditionally. A mother takes care of a child not because a child behaves well. It is not because a child has been beneficial for her. No matter who a child is, when a mother sees her child suffering, she cannot help but move forward to care and comfort her child as best as she can. In the same way, Amida Buddha's light of compassion illuminates us just because of our shameful, self-centered, and ignorant mind. Looking at the sentient beings who are afflicted with the burning blind passions, Amida Buddha cannot help but stand up and extend his compassionate hands toward us without being asked. Amida Buddha's compassion does not discriminate no matter who we are. We are embraced just as we are. No strings attached. Amida Buddha is the Buddha who gently embraces us and never abandons us. Through years of listening to the Nembutsu, Saichi encountered his true Oyasama, the spiritual parent, Amida Buddha, who established the vow to affirm and embrace us all just as we are. The fire of blind passions is constantly burning, yet it is due to that fire that Amida Buddha resolved to save us. Saichi lamented his true nature, but at the same time, his heart was always filled with warmth, comfort, joy, and gratitude embraced by the Buddha. Saichi wrote one poem. It goes like this. 私は幸せ良い耳もろたゴーンとなったる鐘の音親の来たれのご催促浄土へやろうの親のご催促 I am truly grateful that I have gifted wonderful ears. Resounding of the temple bell is the beckoning call of my dear parent, the beckoning call telling me that he will take me to the Pure Land without fail. So, thanks to Shinran Shonin, we encountered the teachings of the Nembutsu. Shinran Shonin and Saichi encourage us to recite the Nembutsu and entrust ourselves to the primal vow of Amida Buddha. They both showed us that we can live joyfully and gratefully, enfolded and illuminated by the light of Amida Buddha. On the occasion of the Gotan-e Shinran Shonin's birthday, let us gratefully recite the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, which is the beckoning call from our Oyasama, Amida Buddha. Once again, thank you very much for your kind invitation. I like to close my message by reading the words of Shinran Shonin, so please join me in Gassho. When I consider deeply the vow of Amida, which arose from 5 kalpas of profound thought, I realize that it was entirely for the sake of myself alone. Then how I am filled with gratitude for the primal vow in which Amida resolved to save me, though I am burdened with such heavy karma. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda 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 Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining today's service. Please have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. Namanda Brahma.